this is really a combination of ELOG, VMS, and the RTI system all together. But we like to demonstrate that the RTI system is actually a workable system, and one can, using technology, one can make the system a solution, a real solution, which can apply to hundreds, thousands of vessels in the press of a bottle. So please follow the presentation. There is a lot of information here on the screen. It's actually sitting on top of the UK compliance electronic logbook, which is now presently used, our ELOG compliance electronic logbook, which is presently used on over 200 vessels in the UK. So it includes a lot of information, not necessarily relevant to RTI, but I want to show it. I wanted to demonstrate the software in a real-time environment. So we have, I think the name of the fisherman is Paddy, and he's sitting in Kraak in northeast Ireland, and he really wants to go fishing, but he cannot go fishing because he needs to allocate some RTI points before he can do anything. So the first thing, we're going to the shore where all the wise people, Sarah and David and all the other management and policy makers are sitting, and they decided what and how many points to allocate to the vessel that Paddy is going to take out. It can be unique to him, or it can be to many other vessels. So let's try and change the number of RTI points. And we send a message to Paddy. Paddy, we gave you we gave you some. There is a message for you. Paddy go to his electronic logbook, and he said there is a message for him. He click on the message, RTI notification reach, and he get 180 pounds. This is his capital. That's what he start with. Now Paddy want to start a trip, but he cannot still fish because he doesn't have a map. And remember, the RTI map is the one that defines how fast you spend your RTI points. But you will start a trip, and there is a lot of fields here which you don't have to worry too much about them. As I say, it's a compliance tool. But if you go here, you will see that there is a gear field. And you have two types of gear on boards. One of them is a diamond mesh, a diamond with an 80 millimeter mesh size. The other one is a square mesh size. You have to go and declare some, and this is very important because the map will be sensitive to the type of gear that he's using. You have to declare if you have stock on board or not. This is a compliance requirement. And then he mark the fact that he started trip. But he cannot go fishing because he needs a map. So we go back to the wise people in Kraak or wherever in the MMO, and we ask them, please allocate maps for us now. Or Paddy wants a map for himself. So we're going to select the maps, and we select a couple of maps which is relevant to the gear that he declared. And we select the maps, and we send him a map message now. So you have a new message now, and when I press you click on the new message, he received a map. You ask him, okay, we're looking for what map you have on board, and he give him a map. Now, this map allows Paddy, I cannot minimize it, I'm not sure. Okay. This map allows Paddy to so that's what I was talking about bugs. Okay? Okay, let's see if I can get back to there. Sorry, guy, that's what I was worrying. Okay. Hopefully it will get back to there. Okay. So Paddy now can start fishing, and I will move the Paddy a little bit, and as he's moving, you can see that the points, the balance is changing, and the amount of days that left on the right hand side, you can see where the 88 is the amount of days that he can fish in such rate. But remember, he's not even fishing yet, but his RTI point's already going down because the RTI determined by the amount of time that is spent on each square or each rectangle, regardless if he's fishing or not, determined by the type of gear that he has on board and the most aggressive gear that he has on board. So he's sitting somewhere here, and now he wants to start fishing, and he go and say, okay, start a daily, which is like a activity, and then he mark it, and now he can start towing. He can put his gear in the water, he start tow, and there is a lot of information that you have to put in, and he declare the gear. The gear is a diamond mesh size, you can see here, and he say what is the depth that I'm fishing, and zone I'm fishing, and you mark it. So now we're actually fishing. So if you take the vessel, you can see that a tow is all started, and while he was fishing, and the rate of, and if he made a mistake and go to, or not a mistake, he decided to go to a red zone, suddenly the rate will go much faster. And while he's fishing, he wants to go and to add some more information to the tow, which is not really some environmental information, so he just go and add some information about the sea condition and the clouds and the clouds cover and the moon phase, and you get an error. We will recover. Okay, so we go to the store, and we can now, let's look on the map. Where is the store on the map? And we can say that this is the tow. I still want to try to give you the other information that I wanted to put in. I'm not giving up so easily. So we give the weather information, and we give the sea and the cloud type and the cloud cover and the moon phase, and we can even add some note. And we writing something in Icelandic, and we add some picture that he might want to take to show the people on the shore, and he can take even a little video that he took. And he enter all this information, and he save it, and he end his tow. So now we have a tow, and the tow is, he took some fishing, and he can now say how much I caught in this tow, so he go and add some catch. And again, without getting to detail, all you need to do is how many boxes of each species he put in. So let's just add some few catches. And once I finish, I save it. So now in a very short time, I spent certain amount of RTI during this fishing, I add some catches, and if you want at any stage, I add some environmental information. You can go and see all this information, and you can revisit this information anytime, included the video and everything. And you can now go and you can make a change. You can decide now that you want to start a new tow, but you want to change your gear. So let's look at what happens if I change the tow with different gear. So now I'm going, and instead of the diamond mesh, I'm selected a square mesh, which is, let's call it, a more conservative gear. And here I declare fishing depths again, and some fishing zone again, and I mark it. Just move the vessel a little bit. It doesn't want to start at the same place. Okay, telling me, hey, you changed your gear. Now we're going to apply a different maps to your RTI spending. We're going to give you actually a slightly better map because you were very responsible. Here is the incentive. You were fishing, now you are fishing with a square gear and not a diamond gear, and we give you a nicer map. Look the name here, it will change to reflect the gear, but also look to see the red should be less red now in the map. Okay, so now I got an RTI rate which is slower, or spending his RTI in a slower rate, and he can go and do a bit of fishing around, just like he done before, and he can end his tour. And now he's going back automatically to the most conservative map. Now all these rules can change. This is just rules that we made as we go, but potentially the agreement is that the most conservative net that he has on board, that's the one that is the default map that is used, unless he declares or there is some way to prove that he is using a more conservative map. So he always apply the most aggressive, let's call it the most expensive gear that he has on board. And the map is changed now to reflect the more aggressive map. Now the authority meanwhile heard that there is some huge damage to some benthic species, and they want now to send maps which are more conservative, not because of the gear, but because they want now to reduce some pressure on some benthic species, whatever it will be, some black or whatever. So we're going back to the authority, and the authority says select maps, and now they're removing the old map, all happening in real time, and they declare a new map as the relevant map, and they send message to Paddy. Paddy got a new message, bad news. He have to leave now map which are more conservative, so he pressed the button, what message? Your map will changes, and a more conservative map was put on board, and he can now fish with this more conservative map. I want to show you two more things. I'm not sure how much time I have left. There is a report here that was created. This report can send automatically all the time. This can be a compliance report or any type of report. In this case, it was created automatically the moment the trip starts. All you need to do, this is just to show electronic logbook, and you need to send the report. This is normally an XML report based on the XML schema, the access deed that published by the authority. Then you send the report, and the report was sent automatically to the database of the MMO. It have a pending little things here, a clock. It looks like a funny clock, which is mean that we're waiting for acknowledgement, because you cannot really carry on fishing or sending a report unless you get acknowledgement for your compliance report. Let's just acknowledge it quickly, manually. And the report now was acknowledged. It was acknowledged manually. So that's one thing that you can see. You continuously send report. The report are automatically acknowledged by the authorities. There is no paper involved. In none of the things that I show you, there was any paper, not in the exchange of RTI maps, not in the exchange, not in the monitoring of the VMS, of the GPS point, the vessel movement, none of this. You can also at any time create a report, an RTA, let's call it an RTI summary report. So if I will go to the trip, and this report can be anything you want. It can be the report of what was summarized, how much was your consumption rate, how much time you spend in green area compared to red area, in yellow area. So you can make decision. So we're getting a combination of the VMS location of the vessel, the type of gear that the vessel is using, all the other information that we have on the vessel class, which might impact on the RTI maps as well. In addition, there is the scientific process that's taking place, maybe information coming on some area of lobster, female lobster concentration that you want to avoid, or area there is some black coral that will pull out from in the nets and you want to avoid. So you can change the map, you can update them. The nice things about that is all, as I said, automatic, and the fisher can go, and all you need to monitor is the RTI. If you see that his RTI budget is getting low, he can move to a green area, and the moment that you will move to a green area, for example, suddenly his RTI rate what was ready. So if you look here, if he's sitting on a red area, he has 32 days left to fish. But if he just move a little bit to a yellow area, he have 161 days to fish. And if he move to a green area, he has 72 days, and if he can move to a blue area, he can really fish forever almost, because he basically doesn't spend his RTI point. Of course, there will be a lot of tuning to do, the RTI points and exactly how much to allocate, the spending rate. That's where the scientists and the mathematician will have to do a bit of work. From our point of view, we just want to show that technically it's possible to facilitate this entire process, to automate it, and to make it a real working system. Thanks a lot.